is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. It is for Thursday's 4-game main slate. We got Lakers, Boston. We got Pacers, Knicks. We got Cavs, Grizzlies, and Sixers, Jazz on the slate here. Joel Embiid already ruled out for this matchup against Utah here. So that's the big notable news. He's actually going to have some additional, medical opinions on the issues that he's going on. So this could end up being a lengthy absence for Joel Embiid here. Obviously with the Knicks, we know Julius Randle is going to be out for a little bit. We got a few players listed as questionable once again. LeBron, Anthony Davis, Maxey. We knew Halliburton was limited the other day. He only played 3 quarters against Boston. For whatever reason, they used all 22 minutes in 3 quarters. Didn't play the 4th there. So a lot of news to be had. It is a short slate. We'll go game by game here today, breaking it all down for everyone. But before we do so, James, how we doing?
Tilted Wednesdays.
It was a tilter today.
It was a tilter. DFS streets were not too kind to me. I pivoted off I had a lot of Clippers to start the day, and then my lineup did not end with a lot of Clippers, and that's always not great because the Clippers scored a jillion points, and that game stayed pretty competitive until the 4th quarter or late in the 3rd. And then the prop game getting hooked when it looked like everything was just firing on all cylinders here. It was a tough Wednesday, looking to bounce back here on Thursday with this 4-gamer, which just a jillion again. Like, look at this injury. Look at the list of just injuries. There's injuries everywhere. Everyone is hurt. And in January, we're flipping the page to February. Thankfully, I know January is like the month where everyone claims is like the worst in the NBA, and then it turns to February, trades are made, teams are like, oh, okay, we're contenders. Oh, like we could make the playoffs. Oh, we need to like seriously go, or we suck and we just traded everybody. And so here's to a more competitive month, John. Here's to the NBA teams staying more competitive.
On that note, Boston, 11-point home favorite. 240.5 game total on that one. Is it just because they're Boston, given 11 at home, or do you think there's any indication that someone may be sitting here for LA?
I mean, there's obviously a lot of turmoil in LA. It seemed like LeBron wanted to call Darvin Ham out after the Tuesday night press conference. Then he posted the time capsule. I don't know if you saw that. There was a ticking time, whatever it is. And then he signed a deal with DraftKings. So it wasn't
to promote football.
To promote football. So like that was funny because everyone was like, oh, he wants to leave. He wants to be traded, whatever. Nevertheless, they have not been a very good team. They are now under 500. So I think it's more so that Boston is just significantly better than they are. LeBron did say, he's like, we can beat everyone in the NBA. We also can lose to everyone in the NBA. And they've kind of shown that. They have had some good wins. They've also had some terrible losses. So I think it's more so the 11.5 is because Boston's really
the only other game we have a total in is the Knicks and Pacers. That's at 241 total.
I see Philly, Utah. I have Philly, Utah.
All right, you have Philly, Utah. You can read that one off to me. I only got the Knicks -4, 241.5. What's your Philly, Utah?
233.5 over on BetMGM. Utah is 3.5-point home favorites.
All right. Well, there we got that. Let's go game by game here. We'll start off Boston, Celtics, Los Angeles Lakers, starting with the Lakers team here. Anthony Davis and LeBron James, both questionable to play. Anthony Davis did not play the other day. Obviously we know what this lineup ends up looking like. They started Jackson Hayes on Anthony Davis. Unfortunately for us, we thought they would use more of the Vanderbilt Christian Wood sort of combo. Those guys got in the game, but they didn't play maybe as much as we had hoped or wanted them to. Austin Reeves had the big night without Anthony Davis, and D'Angelo Russell did not. How are you approaching the Lakers as 11-point road underdogs here against Boston.
It's something I kind of talked about on the show the other day. Russell correlates better with Davis, where Reeves correlates better with LeBron, and the numbers back that up. So I think if one of those guys sit, I think that's the way you handle it. Russell plays better with Davis. Reeves plays better with LeBron. I'm okay getting to any of the top four. I don't love the Reeves price at 6,200 at full capacity, but he has put up 30 fantasy points in 3 or 4. I'm good getting to Russell. One bad game aside, he's been really, really good of late. And I'm obviously okay if you think the game can stay competitive getting to LeBron and AD. I prefer Anthony Davis. I think more often than not, he's the guy with the higher ceiling.
Sure.
So I'm good getting to any of them. And then, it just depends on what's next. Like, I not that Vanderbilt didn't play a lot, but like, dude, he played 26 minutes. He was 6 of 6 from the floor, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals. Why didn't he play more? Like, why was he kind of like ceding time to everyone else? So, like Torian Prince is a 0 at this point.
Yeah.
You'll get a random game from him every so often. Hachimura is solid if someone sits, but it's really the top 4 Vanderbilt. And then if someone sits, it's like, well, Davis sits, Christian Wood, Jackson Hayes. And if LeBron sits, well, I think that's Hachimura starts because we've seen that in the past. And then Vanderbilt gets another boost. So, it's a top 4 plus Vanderbilt if everyone's in. And then we'll talk about what's next if on the live stream if the Lakers rule something.
Yeah, I agree. Moving on over to Boston, Tatum 98, Jaylen Brown 85. Both of those guys get price ups from what they've been. Kristaps Porzingis is at 75. White and Holiday, that's your starting 5 for Boston. Al Horford is going to get some run in this game as well. 11-point total. Are you willing to give a run here on any of the top guys?
Yes, just the starting 5.
Okay,
that's it. I'm not touching the bench. No need to, because when they're full capacity and games are competitive, they just don't play. So the Lakers, it's a big pace of spot for Boston. So if you want to play any of the starting 5, you can play any of the starting 5.
Sure. I mean, I agree with you. Do you have a preference? If say everybody's in for LA, do you have any preference of where you'd go in this matchup against Boston?
Tatum, Brown, Porzingis. I just rank them how they're priced.
Okay, fair enough. Obviously, Jason Tatum coming off of another 56 fantasy points last couple of games, and he's priced in a low 9K in range. No problems paying it off against the Pelicans and the Pacers. And then Jaylen Brown kind of continued his strong performance against Indiana the other day. This is also kind of a big game for Tatum. Obviously, he's the huge Kobe Bryant fan. Grew up Lakers, as a team of his because he admired Kobe. So there is sort of that aspect. And of course, LeBron is a career Celtics killer. So a little rivalry going on there. Lakers, Boston in Boston here. Moving on over to our next matchup, we got the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks. As I mentioned, Tyrese Halliburton was limited to 22 minutes and afterwards said he expects to be limited for a while. So is that 22 minutes for a while? If that's the case, we can't even touch this dude at $9,400.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah. Nothing more to say?
No,
nothing more to say, right?
I'm paying $9,400 for a guy playing 20 minutes.
I agree. Siakam, Turner, Nembhard, Neesmith with a slate breaker against the Celtics. 26, 12, and 7 at $5,400. Any of these secondary Pacer plays for you?
I think still interested in getting to Siakam 8,400. I think that price is fine. I don't love the 32 minutes, but that should be mid to high 30s moving forward. You can't trust Miles Turner's minutes right now. Impossible. So not really interested there in anything but like large field tournaments. Nembhard 28 minutes in a game without McConnell and that he didn't start. So I found that a little interesting. They started Buddy Hield over Nembhard. Maybe, I don't know what the minutes look like for Nembhard if, let's say, Mather and McConnell are both in, because both those guys were out last game. So if both those guys play, I think definitely a tick down to Nembhard. Definitely can get to Neesmith. definitely can get to healed if he's going to play 36 minutes again. But that's obviously
I mean, no McConnell and then a limited Halliburton, right? Those minutes, no Matherin, so the minutes were there for him.
Yes.
Moving over to the Knicks, our guy Dante DiVincenzo. Just want to start there. We have 39 minutes and 42 minutes. The last two games for him, $6,800. What's your play here with DDV?
I mean, I think DDV has just kind of solidified himself. It's just going to be if OG plays, he'll play not 40 plus minutes. And then if OG doesn't play, he is going to play 40 minutes. Sure. Now, Quentin Grimes is questionable. So maybe regardless of scenario now, like DDV, because Quentin Grimes played 32 and 20 the last two games. He only played 20 in the Utah game, maybe because of the right knee sprain. It's hard to ignore what DDV has done. He made a career high 9 threes. He's 33 and 28 actual points, 46 and 59. And this is an elite spot for the Knicks, right? I mean, look, if OG doesn't play, I played 4 Knicks the other night comfortably. Was okay with it. It was 5x or better on every single guy. They're more expensive, but massive pace up spot, really good defensive or really bad defensive team in Indiana. Whether OG's in or out, I'm interested in the Knicks like a lot. I don't know though, like what my max would be if OG plays, because that's obviously a wrinkle that we haven't dealt with.
Yeah, we don't know what the lineup's going to look like with OG in there, right? So,
I mean, I still assume my assumption is Precious to the bench, but he did look really good last game. Played 40 minutes. I would assume, given Indiana's like Pascal at the 4, and they don't do like double big, it would just be Brunson, DiVincenzo, OG, Hartenstein, and you could just put OG on Pascal if you wanted, and you put DiVincenzo on Halliburton would probably be the matchup. So that would be my assumption, but maybe the Knicks feel differently. They obviously Thibodeau has gained Precious has gained Thibodeau's trust, 30 plus minutes in 3 straight games. So there is something to be said about that.
Yeah. Obviously Brunson doesn't need to be discussed too much. It's an elite spot, pace up, just high game total, best matchup for him. So no real need to go deep into Brunson here. Hartenstein got up to 29 minutes, had a double-double. Got to like that with the minutes cap coming off of him.
Look at what it said. Read the thing.
Yeah, will be capped at 25. Play 29.
In a game that he came back in when they were up by 20, and they were like, all right, just yeah. I mean, if he's gonna play that type of run, then for sure.
What do you make of them signing Taj Gibson back?
The whole crowd was chanting, "We want Taj." At the end of that game. I don't know. I think it's one of those like, Udonis Haslem hung around forever in Miami to like be like the locker room guy. I think Taj is like that guy for Thibodeau at this point.
We talk every slate about Josh Hart and how he has the ability to sort of do those slate breaker games, and he got it here 10, 10, 10, 2, 2, 48 fantasy points. Double-digit rebounds in the 2 games since Reynolds been out. Like, this is what we can most likely expect here. Some big-time rebounding games. The assists have been nice, so happy to continue to lock him at the 6K range. After that, though, I mean, is there anybody else that you would play? I mean, McBride only got 10 minutes. Grimes is questionable here. Anybody else on the Knicks?
I would play Grimes if he's in and OG's out.
Okay.
I think the 20 minutes were definitely aided, 1 by Precious playing really, really well, and 2 hit the knee because he played 32 minutes in the Charlotte game prior. So I would be interested in some Quentin Grimes if he plays and if OG does not.
Let's go on over to Cleveland, Memphis. Cleveland had Darius Garland returned on Wednesday. They obviously had Evan Mobley back a few games ago. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back here. So is there a chance, do you think, that Garland and or Mobley sit out here?
Both. And we're back to what Cleveland was pre like Garland and Mobley. I mean, Garland had his mouth shut. So like how many minutes he played 20 in his debut. He was also minus 16 in his 20 minutes, which is not great. When you're playing Detroit, I guess.
Right.
I think there's they're both live to sit. I mean, if they don't, you can't really play either anyway. Garland's too expensive. Mobley's 65. He played 22 minutes. Well, I'm lukewarm on both them playing. And then if they don't, like, you can obviously get to Jared Allen would be the most intriguing. If they're out, Jared Allen would be the most intriguing guy to me because we just saw Sabonis have 47 rebounds against Memphis front court because, again, like 6'5" Xavier Tillman is starting at center. Jaren Jackson, bad rebounder. Like, that's the front court that Jared Allen's going to be going against. So he would be my top play if Mobley, Garland sit, and that's like the team that we've been seeing Cleveland play for months now is the starting five.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and obviously Allen's been dominant here. And if everybody's out, you can go back down to LeVert, Strus, Merrill, that whole crew there. Georges Niang, pretty good value play. If all of them are out, if they're in, obviously you make and choose your decisions. There's gonna be limitations to them. We've seen obviously Allen still have a good game the other night. Mitchell's certainly capable. It is Memphis, and Memphis, I mean, hopefully they'll be healthier this game around than they've been lately. They got a couple of guys listed as doubtful already. Kennard, Contra is questionable. I think Derrick Rose was doubtful. Yeah, Derrick Rose is listed as doubtful here. The other day didn't have anybody. So
they also signed like 4 G Leaguers that are active.
Tosin, Bowen, I'll let you do the pronunciation there. We had our guy Hurt who played 23 minutes in that game. 2 for 3 from 3, kept its hot streak going from the G League, 50% 3-point shooter there. He's $3,300. Jemison, he played a minute in that game. They need some centers here. So I'm overall in agreement with you. We know where to go. Triple J, Vince Williams, Aldama, just kind of run that crew out there.
Tosana Woma.
There you go.
And he played at Princeton, by the way. Shout out to him for being super smart. Yeah, I mean, so I think like just talking back like Cleveland just for a second, because I do think that there's obviously Cleveland could be a very good source of value, just given what we don't know. But I think Garland and Mobley are live to sit. We saw Isaac Okoro play 30 minutes off the bench.
Yeah.
And that was the second straight game. He's now played 30 minutes off the bench. He had 14, 3 rebounds, and 4 steals tonight. They are like, Donovan Mitchell did a post-game interview as the interviewer with Isaac Okoro the other day and said, Isaac, what do you think about you being a first-team All-Defender this year? And so they're starting to push the Isaac Okoro narrative. And now he's responded 4 steals after a really good game the other day against Clippers. If they're limited or without those guys, Okoro's going to play big minutes. LeVert played 25 off the bench. With everyone back, though, John, Merrill just 16 minutes, Niang just 17 minutes. So for either of those guys to have any value, I think we need Mobley and Garland to be out. But, like, if they're out, we've seen them push mid-20s. So,
agreed. Anybody else in this game?
No. Oh, well, okay. Memphis. We haven't talked about. Well, like, what do you
skim through it? But yeah, what are your thoughts on your core plays in Memphis here?
I mean, Vince Williams, first and foremost, he's going to guard Donovan Mitchell for as long as this game stays competitive. Memphis does get Cleveland on a back-to-back. If they start Tillman, apparently the knee is fine. Played 37 minutes on the second leg of a back-to-back. 27 fantasy points, 5,300, 37 minutes in a game that he allowed 47 rebounds to Domantas Sabonis. Like, that would be intriguing. If it's the same starting lineup, Santi Aldama looked really good. 34 minutes himself, 33 fantasy points, 16-7, 14 shot attempts was great. I didn't intentionally skip over Triple J, but like, I don't, there's a ceiling in tournaments. If you want, he's going to take 1 billion shots. I don't think David Roddy is viable at 51. That just feels out.
I mean, the minutes are obviously going to be there for him. Double-digit rebounds in 2 of the last 3 games.
And then I assume, we have to assume Kennard out. If Contra doesn't play, they just go back to Scottie Pippen, who's not free, but 31 minutes or 32 minutes, 30 fantasy points in that game. for Scottie Pippen.
Him and GG played a good amount of minutes in that game. So
yeah, and then all those G Leaguers, like,
it feels like Hurt would obviously be the one to play.
Yeah,
right?
Hurt would be the guy. I don't love that they signed Trey Jamison. He had a good season summer league with Phoenix, and then like Tillman played 37 minutes. I was questioning if he could do that. Then they signed a backup center, right? When Jamison, so not the best, but it's hard to predict any of them. Hurt would be the guy if the team is exactly how it was the other day. Hurt would probably be the one of them to go off.
Sure. Philadelphia, Utah here. We obviously know again Embiid already out, and Maxey is going to be listed as questionable for this game. Yeah, if Maxey's in, great A spot for him. I know it's in Utah, been a tougher place to play, but we know what the upside can certainly be. After that, I mean, what's your fall down with Embiid out?
I mean, Toby's going to be maybe the highest rostered player of the slate in this game because it's 2 hours after the 8 p.m. game, and we don't know if Tyrese Maxey's going to play. So people are just going to use Maxey, and then if he's out, they're just going to pivot to like Toby in a lot of scenarios. So Toby's the obvious play off of them coming off 26-point double-double, 38 minutes in the Golden State game that Embiid left. Oubre, very underwhelming 35 minutes for Kelly Oubre the other night, even with Embiid in and out of the lineup. Paul Reed is going to be a very popular play. I think this is a very good spot for Paul Reed. We've seen a couple times this year he's had monster games. He's had 2 double-doubles in games that he's been extended 30 minutes. He played 32 in Orlando, 15 and 10. He played 42 in Denver, 30 and 13. He's going to be a popular play, whether we think Paul Reed's a 6K player or not. He is a good fantasy point per minute. We've seen it pretty often.
Yeah.
And then everything else is like very just up in the air. Batum is questionable. Marcus Morris doubtful. We saw Furkan Korkmaz get extended the other day.
Mm-hmm.
He was really good, and he can be really good. Now, if he doesn't start the game shooting this well again, does he play 22 minutes? I don't know, but they're potentially down Embiid, Maxey, Melton, Batum, Morris, Covington. That's like 6 of 10 guys that they play in their normal rotation. So I think of all the guys outside of like the top guys, it's Korkmaz, and then hat tip to Jaden Springer's 21 minutes, $3,200. He looked really good. Yeah. He is actually like, I've mentioned Jaden Springer probably too many times in this podcast because he's every time
I mention Patrick Beverley, and then you're like, well, Jaden Springer, and I'm like, all right, maybe.
And then Jaden Springer just doesn't play. This is a scenario where if Maxey's not in, they're going to play Jaden Springer off the bench, and he's a pretty good fantasy player.
Got 26 minutes from KJ Martin there as well, guys. End up being ruled out. Could have some additional value there. Utah, Lauri Markkanen 86. Then jumps down price wise. Sexton 6,600. John Collins continues to be really good. Clarkson under 6K. Our guy Fontecchio is $4,200. With no Embiid, it just sort of changes how you view the 76ers.
It does. And also we have to change that Utah's home. And Utah has been on a massive road trip, 6 games. They did not have a lot of fun on that road trip. I think 2 wins, and 2 of them were against Washington and Charlotte were their wins on their road trip. So everybody's in play. I'm all in on Utah here. I mean, like you said, there's no Embiid. Paul Reed can be foul happy. Whoever you want to play. I think this is a scenario that we were talking about. Markkanen's price went up. Everyone else's price went down.
Yeah.
And now we're back at that price where it's like, well, if the starters get extended here, Sexton's too cheap. Collins is too cheap. We know Fontecchio's too cheap when he plays extended minutes. When he plays extended minutes is the question.
Yeah.
Kelly O, we know, has an insane ceiling at times. Jordan Clarkson, dude, I know he's been terrible, and now his name is floating around in trade rumors, at least from a fantasy perspective. He has an insane ceiling. So, like, Utah just across the board is just overwhelmingly too cheap.
Yeah, they were coming off of 6 straight road games, and now they're back home for the first time. I imagine that they're going to be in a pretty good spot here against Philly. Let's build our lineup here, James. Where's our initial tack point? Is it Dante DiVincenzo?
Yeah, I do. I definitely am curious on how the Knicks rotation shakes out when
You're
OG
still wondering
returns.
about OG, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I like. There's just no chance you can like look at what DiVincenzo's done and be like, yes, 25 minutes you go. Like, it's
You hope
impossible.
not.
True. He's made 14 threes. He's 14 for 30 from three his last 2 games.
Mhm.
I don't know. What are we doing? But yeah, I think for now it's hard not to want to plug and play Dante.
Sure. I mean, he is $6,800, so he's not, cheap. You could go Toby, as we just talked about. Like, feels like good
Yeah,
play.
regardless. And then
Yeah,
like Fontecchio, Utah value, like
yeah,
that's obviously. I mean, we're playing Maxi 91 if he plays, right? Like
yes.
Nick Nurse said he's hopeful he's going to return. So
Okay.
that seems likely that Maxi returns, but um,
We got 6,400 with Fontecchio and Harris here. Center position, again, some guys we're looking at. Again, Hartenstein 65 feels pretty good. I know you liked Paul Reed, John Collins, Sandy Aldama probably has to play the minutes.
I think it's
Uh,
the 4 guys you just mentioned.
okay.
If we don't have, because obviously the Lakers news can change things if guys are ruled out there, or Jared Allen could come into play, but we don't know this official status of any of the Cleveland guys.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that even Underdog just posted nothing official. So, I would say that the tier you mentioned, the Hartenstein, Reed, Collins tier was a good one.
Okay. I'm gonna go in with a couple of these guys here too. I mean,
Yeah, I like John Collins. Dude, he's gonna play. He's been really good in competitive games. He's
yeah. Yep. $6,600. You got 3 guards and a util to figure out here.
3 guards and a util.
Mm-hmm. Scottie
Scotty Pippen. I mean, if Contra plays, the Pippen plays kind of dead. But like we're pre-building, so I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean, he's questionable as it is now. I mean, they're home. There's Nembhard at 55. If we're just looking at value, got a lot of Utah already, but there is sexing here. Shooting guard options again, more to the Cleveland with not kind of uncertainty around those plays.
do
So
you want to just plug DiVincenzo? Like, we could
yeah,
just plug
I'm
DiVincenzo.
fine going DDB here. 68 point guard. We'll just use Pippen for the value. It's 7,500 for 2 plays to go.
Maxi or Brunson?
Yeah, let's go Brunson first. 53 util because Maxi's cheaper. So I mean, if we get it word, we can always move down. Um,
The answer here is Buddy Hield if guys are out again,
yeah,
but we just don't know that.
we don't know. Well, we can pivot off to Tillman, I guess, if we need to. It's just an example lineup. Obviously, we'll have the full playbook out, and James and I will actually be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern time for Thursday slate. So just a quick example lineup for you all: Scottie Pippen, Dante DiVincenzo, Simone Fontecchio, Tobias Harris, Isaiah Hartenstein, Jalen Brunson, John Collins, Buddy Hield. We'll be back later on today. Get us in the Discord, find us on Twitter, and we'll catch you guys later.